Very simple mindset hack that will instantly improve your mental state. And ultimately, I want to break down some practical steps that we each can begin to take to develop a more empowered perspective. To begin the conversation, quick question for each and every single one of us. Have you ever felt stuck? Maybe you feel stuck in this moment. Have you ever felt overly stressed or overwhelmed by the problems that you're facing? Have you ever felt as if you couldn't handle the conditions of your life and it puts you in an emotional state where you felt defeated, you felt hopeless and powerless? Put a number one in the chat if you can relate to that. Maybe you find yourself stuck in this moment. You want to move forward, but you don't know the next move. You find yourself in an environment where you feel as if you can't escape, right? Where yesterday looks like today, where last week looks like this week, and you're on this perpetual cycle where you're feeling unhappy, not stepping into your power, and feeling as if you cannot move your life forward. How many of us can connect with that? My brother Beat John is in the building. Great day to you, brother. Hope all is well with you and the fam. Excellent. I see the ones coming up. I see them. We're there. We're there. You feel stuck. You feel isolated. You feel alone. You feel as if your life is at a standstill, that you're not making any progress. Mentally, you feel held hostage. Psychologically, it feels like your mind has been hijacked and you feel all these negative emotions, so to speak, that are always overwhelming you in many ways where you feel hopeless and powerless. I want to break this cycle for each and every single one of us this morning, family. To begin the conversation, comment below. Perspective is key. Perspective is key. As you guys are commenting below, one thing that I have always been fascinated with is really the art of magic. To witness a magician who's delivering a set, who's on stage, and who engages an audience and astonishes them with their awe factor, right? Where they may use tricks where they're using cards. I've been to a magician set where they started pouring out water from the bottom of their shoe, right? They're cutting people in half and leaving you in a state where you're like, how did that happen, right? It's often an illusion that takes place when you look at many magicians that are on the stage and they're creating some sense of magic and delivering a set and leaving you wondering, how did that take place? And as I started doing research on the art of magic and looking into the craft of being a magician, one thing that commonly came up as I was diving into many different techniques that magicians use is that in many cases, the hidden steps in a magic trick is what often creates an illusion. Because a magician is often moving his hands in ways where you can't see what's happening, and he's having you direct your attention towards where he wants you to focus on. And while you're focusing on this, he's doing something else and creating an illusion that doesn't necessarily mean it exists. It's all a matter of where you're directing your focus. And because you're focusing on one thing, now he can manipulate something else to make it look like what it's not, if that makes sense. In other words, what I'm saying is there's more to it than what meets the eye when you're looking at illusions that take place. I'll say it this way. It's very similar to our perspective in life, where in a lot of cases, when we focus on certain things, we're not necessarily focused on reality, and our reality isn't necessarily built off of what's happening in the real world. What's happening is it's our focus and our perspective that's shaping our reality. It's dictating what we're actually interpreting about our situation and circumstances. And it's important for us to understand, family, that nothing changes your life more than your perspective. So if we're not getting the results that we really want in life, in some cases, we have to learn to shift or adjust or completely reinvent the perspective that we have on life. Because hear me clearly on this. If what you see is all you see, then you have not seen all that is to be seen. I think that's worth repeating, family. If what you see is all you see, then you have not seen all that is to be seen. It's this understanding about our focus and our perspective that helps us stay empowered as we approach different challenges and difficulties as we navigate our goals and our dreams and ultimately this wonderful journey that we call life. Your focus will shape your reality. What you focus on the most in your mind will eventually grow in your life. Where you direct your focus, family, will dictate in many ways how you feel, the internal experience that you have in life, the meaning that we attach to our experiences, how we interpret our challenges will often indicate how we show up in certain opportunities, how we face adverse conditions in our life. So, with that understanding, it's important for us to really begin to direct our focus in a more empowering way. Let me say it this way, family. What would your life look like if all you did was focused on everything wrong in your life? How would you feel? On the flip side of that coin, how would you feel and what would your life look like if you directed your focus on everything that was good in your life? Everything that was positive in your life? You see how you can have the same life, but a different feeling and a different experience, all based upon where you're directing your focus? In fact, I remember my oldest son, he's 6 years old now, but here recently, I was helping him with a puzzle. And as he's navigating this puzzle, my son's name is Trip. Trip began to get frustrated because he couldn't put the pieces where they belonged. And because he wasn't able to make progress with this particular puzzle, it was a mystery to him, he started to get frustrated. In other words, he had a goal. He wanted to create progress. He wanted to build momentum. He wanted to accomplish this goal. He wanted to succeed at the task. But because he was held up, he became frustrated. And because he was frustrated, he was overwhelmed by that emotion. And that emotion, family, began to blind his mind from the next steps that he needed to take. And I simply asked Trip, I said, Trip, what is something that you can do now that you're not doing to create a different outcome or a different result? Now, it took some time for this to resonate with him. But after he sat down and calmed down, right? Because we don't want to allow our emotions to overpower our intelligence, family. But he took a moment to calm down and he started to think clearly. Then ultimately, as he started to think clearly, and after receiving this different question that he was asking himself that was provided by me, he had a different focus and a different perspective. And that newfound perspective assisted him in finding the right puzzle pieces to be put in place to solve the problem. D1, what are you saying? That's a long way of saying this very simple statement, family. You can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. Again, where you find yourself, you may be in a challenging season. It may be a difficult moment for you. And for many people, you feel stuck because all you're doing is you're perpetuating the same pattern of thinking, or maybe in some cases, the same pattern of behavior. And you keep getting the same outcomes and the same results and keep getting the same experiences, all because you keep repeating the same patterns. In order for you to create something new, you have to disrupt that pattern. You cannot think on the same frequency of the problem that created it, right? Or the thinking that created the problem, rather. You've got to raise the frequency of your thought. And that newfound frequency of thought is going to help you see things from a different perspective. And now that you see things from a different perspective, you can solve the issue at hand. Is this making sense, family? Put a number 1 in the chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down. In essence, what I'm describing is us breaking the pattern of what we're consistently thinking in any given moment and allowing ourselves to think differently, shifting our perspective, changing the way we view the situation at hand, which now gives us a different viewpoint. And like I mentioned earlier, nothing changes your life more than your perspective. So if you want to change your life, if you want to create positive outcomes and new results, it starts with what you're thinking and repeating to yourself. You got to change your perspective. And that starts with you changing your focus. I see you guys put number 1s in the chat. If you want to change your focus, here's the game changer. It's going to lead to our call to action today. In the same way that I gave Trip a different question, that's how you change your focus. You ask a different question. Here's what questions do for us, family. Questions change what you focus on and ultimately What you focus on will determine your state of mind, how you feel internally. So if I change what I'm focusing on, I can change my mental state. Asking a different question can instantly change what you consider in your mind and what you choose to delete. Right now, if I asked you, what is your favorite color? You're not thinking about your favorite outfit, right? You're not thinking about your favorite shoes. You're thinking about the colors. You're choosing to delete certain things because you're focusing on something else. Third thing is this: questions will make you feel resourceful if you ask the right questions. Then lastly, questions can either kill or build momentum, depending upon what you're asking yourself. Now, there's two types of questions that we can ask ourselves, family. Number one is this: you can ask yourself a disempowering question. Let's define what disempowering questions are. This may sound very familiar for many of us. I know for me, in many chapters in my life, I've been there, where I've constantly asked myself disempowering questions. And because I ask myself disempowering questions, I feel disempowered. But let's label these questions. Disempowering questions, they cause you to focus on just the problem and not the solution. They make the problem bigger than what it really is. They make you feel unresourceful. They make you feel responsible for the problem that you're facing, but in a position where you feel out of control to change it or make things better. Or in some cases, a disempowering question can often cause an endless loop in your mindset. Here's a very common question that we ask ourselves: why me? Why am I the one that has to deal with this challenge? Why am I the one whose back is up against the wall? Why was I the one that was laid off? Why am I the one whose business is struggling? Why am I the one who's not getting ahead in life, right? The why me question is an endless loop. Again, you're perpetuating the same feeling by asking the same questions. But on the flip side, what we want to start doing is asking ourselves more empowering questions. Let's define what those questions are. An empowering question will provide you with new understanding, new distinctions, and new ideas. It focuses you more on the solutions instead of the problems that you're facing. It helps you and assists you to move and take positive action. It gives you a deeper sense of meaning about the situation at hand. And then lastly, most importantly, it helps you feel empowered or to learn from your situation or the struggle that you find yourself in. Family, we often feel stuck because we are caught in patterns of asking ourselves disempowering questions. Comment below. Think critically. Think critically in any given moment. This is something that we often are not taught. We weren't taught this in grade school in some cases, on how to think critically as it relates to how we feel, our emotional state. We didn't develop the intelligence around our emotions, but as adults and as individuals that want to become high achievers and scale to new levels of success in our life, we have to make it a habit of thinking critically. No matter what you're facing, no matter what you're up against, we have to think critically. Here's a side note. I want to give us this for free. Last week during our session, we talked about this concept that I described being unexamined assumptions, right? Where we're led by things that we just claim to be true, that we haven't examined, that we haven't observed, that we haven't investigated to find the truth or validate what's really happening in our lives. And as adults, so many people feel stuck because they're led by those unexamined assumptions, where you literally make a problem, create a problem in your life, and then you state that problem as a very simple statement in your mind. And ultimately, your mind will begin to shut down the moment that you label a problem to simply be a statement. Let me give us an example. Maybe you told yourself, I'm poor. I can never be rich. I can't do X, Y, Z. You fill in the blank. Maybe you told yourself, I'm inexperienced. I'm unqualified. I'm not enough. I don't have what it takes. I'm not intelligent enough. Whatever the case may be, you're making a simple statement that your mind is now interpreting as a command to obey, a label that you're now attaching to yourself. And keep in mind, family, labels become limits. An unexamined assumption. And if you're led by unexamined assumptions, in many cases, you're missing out on great and amazing opportunities in your life. All because you're creating barriers on your potential. You're creating self-imposed restrictions on what's possible for you and your life. And what has to be done, family, is you have to open up your mind to new possibilities by simply asking better questions. Here's another game-changing technique. Turn your problems into questions that you can ask yourself to find solutions for the task that needs to be done to create better results and outcomes in your life. Here's a quick example using some of those things that I just gave us, okay? I'll give us some framework. If you're taking notes, write this down. A framework for a breakthrough question in your life is how might I, and you fill in the blank, so that I can fill in the blank. Again, how might I do X, Y, Z so that I can do 1, 2, 3, whatever the case may be. I should have put this up on the screen to make it easier to understand, but here's an example how we can put this into action. How might I increase my earning potential so that I no longer live paycheck to paycheck? The situation is still the same, but I'm now asking myself a breakthrough question to create a better outcome and a better result. I'm putting myself in an empowered position to do something about my situation rather than just saying I'm poor. How might I increase my earning potential so I do not have to live paycheck to paycheck? Another question, what can I do to increase my own happiness so I don't have to drink my way to sleep at night, right? Here's a problem. Here's a struggle that I'm dealing with, but I'm asking myself a breakthrough question. Now I'm positioning myself to do something about what it is that I'm facing. Last example is this. How can I scale my side hustle so that I can grow my business into my main source of income? Family, what I'm saying is this. Let's stop being satisfied with surface level observations and understand that the value is found in the depths of what it is that we're experiencing. And when we ask breakthrough questions, when we ask empowering questions, we're not just on the surface of what we're facing, we're digging deep to get to the root of what it is that we're facing in those moments and asking ourselves, how can we rise above them? How can we navigate this effectively and overcome it? So here's the call to action as I wrap up this conversation. Family, your goal, your task, as we lead into this week is to become more mindful of the questions that you're asking yourself, or in some cases, become aware of when you're being led by unexamined assumptions. Make the necessary shifts. Ask better questions, okay? Ask breakthrough questions. When you find yourself feeling some type of way, overwhelmed by some emotional state, you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you feel powerless, you feel afraid or anxious, you feel frustrated or angry, whatever the case may be, begin to identify what you're saying to yourself and start asking better questions. And then secondly, train your mind to start developing the habit of asking empowering questions. Remember, empowering questions bring forth new distinctions, new understandings, and new ideas, new ways that you can take steps towards progress and better results and better outcomes. Get into the habit of asking yourself more empowering questions. Yeah, you're in the heart of the struggle and it's very difficult for you. An empowering question that you can ask yourself is, what is life teaching me in this moment? How can I use this experience to be better? What is life preparing me for as I'm navigating these difficult experiences? What's the value in this experience? Because the moment you find something positive in a difficult situation, family, it's at that moment that you win. No matter what you're facing, right? No matter what it looks like, in some cases, no matter how you feel, the moment you find something positive in a difficult situation, you win. And this is a skill. We have to train our mind to seek out the value, the good in every experience. But I'm a living witness. Life is better lived when you develop that habit. Yeah, we can be stuck in our frustration. We can be stuck in our hopelessness. We can be stuck in our disappointments, but we're not going to make any progress. We'll perpetuate those same feelings. And then today will look like yesterday. 2025 is going to look like 2023 and 2024. You got to break that cycle by training your mind to ask yourself empowering questions. And then lastly, be open to the truth and new possibilities. Because for so many people, I've come across this with many clients that I've worked with. We can often be anxious to change our situations, but unwilling to change ourselves. Because even though we're unhappy, it's that discomfort where we find security, right? It's in that frustration where we can justify why we're not succeeding, right? You have to be open to the truth because the truth can often be uncomfortable. And this is what many people often avoid. The truth may often require you to make the necessary changes. It may disrupt your comfort zone, and you have to be open to that. Be open to new possibilities. This may mean I'm going to have to disconnect from what is so I can latch on to what can be. That may mean I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. So asking empowering questions will begin to inspire change. And that change may not necessarily always feel good, but it's going to help you create a better outcome and a better result. But we have to be open to it. I'll end by saying this, family. If you're not getting the right answers to the challenges that you're facing, ask a different question, a breakthrough question, an empowering question, a question that moves you forward. A real quick quote, then I promise you we'll wrap it up. It's a quote by the great philosopher and mindset expert Michael Beckwith. He simply said, behind every problem, there's a question trying to ask itself. Behind every question, there's an answer trying to reveal itself. Behind every answer, there's an action trying to take place. And behind every action, there's a way of life looking to be born. That new way of life is the greater you unleashing. Family, what I'm saying is this. When you ask more empowering questions, you will open up your life to brand new possibilities. In some cases, it will help you align yourself with the purpose that you've been destined to fulfill. So no need for you to stay stuck. No, you're not stuck. You're just holding on to things that are not serving you. Maybe they used to work in the past. Maybe that thought pattern really helped you in the past, but this is a new season. It's a new chapter in your life. And you keep perpetuating the same experiences. You keep replaying the same cycles and outcomes and results, all because in some cases, you're asking the same questions. It's a disempowering question, or maybe you're being led by unexamined assumptions. Let today be the day that you break that cycle. Ask a breakthrough question. Ask an empowering question. Be led by the things that align you with your vision and your purpose and your goals, because that question will help provide you with new distinctions and new answers. Those answers will help inspire better actions, better behavior patterns. Those new actions will help you create a better way of life, and that way of life is the life that you were destined to fulfill. So the call to action as we step into this week's opportunities, become more mindful of the questions that you're asking yourself, and be sure to stay in power by asking questions that move you forward. If you slid into this broadcast and I was unable to give you a shout out, be sure to comment below. And if in fact this is your first time, or maybe your first time in a long time, put a number 1 in the chat and then place your first name afterward. I'll be sure to shout you out before we do wrap up today's conversation. If you were picking up what I was putting down during today's broadcast, if you found value in this discussion, please let your boy know by putting some fist up in the chat below. Let me know that what I said resonated with you. But most importantly, I'm hoping that we apply it to our lives. That's the goal, right? To transform who we are as leaders. Let's keep in mind, transformation doesn't just happen because you receive information. No. It takes more than just information. It takes information, maybe some inspiration. I gave you the inspiration, but most importantly, it's all about the application. Information plus application creates transformation. I provided the inspiration and the information. It's up to you to apply it right now to your life so you can transform who you are as a leader. So as you guys put the fist up in the comments below, I'm seeing them. Excellent. Make the commitment today that you are going to apply something that we discussed during this session as you approach this week's opportunities. Dedicate yourself, commit yourself to doing something different to create better outcomes and better results, to get unstuck. For those of us that feel stuck, remember, you're not stuck. You're just perpetuating a thought pattern. You keep replaying the same actions and the same habits, creating the same outcomes. Break that cycle this week. Let's make that commitment. Spencer King is in the building. Great day to you, brother. Hope all is well with you and the fam. Glad to have you tapped in live. Going all the way back to the Eastbrook days, brother. Tanisha, I see the fist coming up. Welcome. Yes, I'm loving it. This is great as usual. Appreciate that. It's not too late for you to share this out, family, with those that you do care about. Share this out on Facebook. You can tag somebody in the chat personally. If you're watching this on X, retweet this out to those that you are connected to. For those on LinkedIn, you can share this with your professional network. And for everybody watching this on YouTube, real quick, please hit the like button. It goes a long way in the algorithm. And then share the link out with at least 2 people. Matter of fact, make it 3. Make it 3 individuals that you know that can benefit from this discussion. Share it to them. DM the link to them. Email it to them. Text it to them. However way you can get it to them, be sure to let them know to check this broadcast out at some point in time. If we've yet to connect on other platforms, family, what are we waiting for? Connect with your boy. I'm at #1 Gibson. That includes Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter. And like I just mentioned, tap into our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/David Gibson for all of my long form content, including my short films and documentary series. In fact, I'm excited, man. The team and I are prepping for our upcoming season of our documentary series on small businesses. So be sure to tap in there on YouTube to stay up to date with everything that's coming with that particular project. And while you're there, check out the previous 2 seasons to learn from all of those stories, some amazing stories you can find a lot of value out of. But again, that's at youtube.com/David Gibson. Also, for more information on my coaching and speaking services, be sure to connect with me at the website. That's at elevationisAmust.com. And while you are there, you can tap into the online store where you can purchase books, ebooks, physical books that you can actually purchase and have sent to your home directly, all about mindset development and success practices that will ultimately help you become the best version of yourself. With that being said, family, it's Monday. Remember, new opportunities and endless possibilities. Like I mentioned earlier, take what we discussed and apply it to your life. And as you step into this week, maybe you find yourself in a difficult season or a challenging experience that's really got you way down in this moment. Come real close to your cell phone device or laptop or TV, whatever device you are using to view this broadcast. And hear me clearly. I want to talk to you personally. I want you to understand that whatever you're currently facing, whatever you're currently up against, you have to keep in mind it's not bigger than you. It's not stronger than you. Now, I know sometimes it feels as if it's winning this battle, but you got what it takes to rise above what you are experiencing. You just got to keep persisting until you succeed. You may say, D1, man, that sounds good. It's very inspiring, but really you have no idea what I'm currently up against in this season of my life. It's the toughest battle that I've ever been in, and that may very well be true, right? I may not know who you are. I may not know what you're currently facing. I may not know what you're up against. But what I do know is this: whatever stands in front of you and whatever stands behind you has nothing compared to the power that's at work within you. It's your responsibility to stand up with that power, to move with that power, to lead with that power, because you are unstoppable when you decide to be. So today, this week, make the conscious decision you're going to be unstoppable. It's not to say you're not going to experience any setbacks. It's not to say you're not going to experience any mistakes. It's not to say you're not going to be told no. It's not to say that doors are not going to shut in your face, but it's to say, I refuse to give up. I refuse to quit. It's not over until I win. And with that mindset, you can move mountains, family. With that mindset, you can redefine possibilities. With that mindset, you can reinvent your life. So let that be your call to action. The second call to action, to step into this week with that unstoppable mindset. Family, it's been real. I appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in to this broadcast. I love each and every single one of you. If nobody else tells you that today, remember, D1 has nothing but love for you. With all of that being said, we'll be back at it next week, Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, dream catchers, family, success warriors, entrepreneurial soldiers, overachievers, high achievers, however way you want to put it, be effective, be successful, Live with some passion this week. And most importantly, 1, 2, 3, be powerful. Have a phenomenal Monday and an excellent week. I'll see you all. Peace.
Loud and clear, I'm gonna make it. I can see my shot is here, so now I'm gonna take it. Gotta get up, get out, time to stand up, get loud, time to rise up off the floor. And I'm stronger than ever now, can't hold me down no more. I'm waking up, 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 I'm waking up. So I'ma do it right now, yeah, I'ma do it right now. I ain't giving up and I